Hey, happy Saturday. Representative Jared Patterson here, coming to you from my home here in Frisco, Texas. If you're like me, you received your Denton Central Appraisal District notice in the mail this past week. I know that those are hitting the streets right now, causing a lot of controversy and a lot of concern among a lot of folks, and rightfully so. If you did not receive your notice in the mail, you can go to dentoncad.com and you can find your new appraised value there. Want to talk to you a little bit about it. First off, there is an insert. Any type of protest this year is going to be a little bit different because of the coronavirus situation. They're not going to allow folks to come in person to meet with them, but they do have an e-file system, which we've done in the past to protest. You can mail it in, you can drop it off at their office, and they'll call you back. So there are some other options, but it is going to be a little bit different, maybe a little disadvantage for some folks that are used to going and having that in-person meeting with the appraisal district. But want to talk to you a little bit about property taxes in general. So let me ask you this. What do you think is more important, the value of your property or the tax rates for your property? The answer is neither one is more important than the other. The answer is that they work in combination to get your total tax rate. What they do is they multiply your value of your property times the tax rate, and that's actually rates because you have multiple taxing entities, and that equals the total dollar amount of money that you pay in property taxes each year. This is what is most important, the total dollar amount of money that you're paying in property taxes. They get that again by the value set by the Central Appraisal District for each county. So the Denton Central Appraisal District sets your value. You then have the right to protest that value if you feel like it's not based on market values. And then the taxing entities, each one of them, your city, your county, your school district, your water district, your MUD, any other taxing entity that you live under, they each receive those, what they call certified values, before they set the tax rate. So as your value goes up, your tax rates for the taxing entities should go down to offset the increase in value. So your value should be able to go up $1 million a year and it have no effect whatsoever on the end result of the dollars that you pay, because the tax rates should be coming down to offset that. Now, this year, in terms of value, per the property tax code in the state of Texas, the values are set on January 1st of each year. And so this whole coronavirus situation that popped up in February and March and April that has had a huge economic impact on folks, that's actually not going to be able to be taken into account for the 2020 property value year. That will be taken into account on the January 1st, 2021 property value year. So that's one thing. But I absolutely believe that everyone should protest their market value of their home. Whether that's meeting with a realtor or soliciting some help from an outside company, or doing research on your own and figuring out what is the true market value for your property. I think everyone should protest their market value with the appraisal district. And again, there's various ways you can do that. Leslie and I did that online last year through the e-file system. It worked very well. But I also believe that you should be challenging the taxing entities that are setting the tax rates. Challenge the taxing entities. You know, these city council members and county commissioners and school board members, most of them will meet with you one-on-one. Of course, in regular times, now you may have to just call them on the phone, or, maybe offer a Zoom meeting with them or something. But you should meet with them. You should try to get in touch with them and figure out what you can do to understand their budgeting situation. Look, this coronavirus situation has been incredibly difficult on families in the state of Texas and in the U.S. and globally. We're in dire straits for a lot of folks. And so, we want to make sure that the taxing entities aren't raising your property taxes this year. Look, all the taxing entities, including the state of Texas, are going to be really struggling for cash, struggling for revenue right now. The state of Texas, for example, oil and gas revenue and sales tax. Oil and gas is in the gutter. Sales tax is non-existent right now. There's going to be budget concerns at every level of government, but this is the worst possible time to be raising property taxes. And so we need to be challenging those. Speaking of challenging those, it's easier to do that now because of what we did in the 86th legislature with some transparency items we passed. You now will be notified when those meetings happen where they set the tax rates, how everyone votes, what that situation is. There's a lot of transparency items, but let's get back into the 86th legislature and what we did, because a lot of people are saying, well, Jared, what happened to those tax caps? My value went up 5%, 7%, 10%. I thought you said that there were some tax caps. Well, I did say that there's tax caps because there are, but it's not on the value of your property. It's on this total dollar amount, because again, that total dollar amount is what really matters. That's what really affects your pocketbook. So let's talk about what we did. SB2, that was for cities and counties, and that set a tax cap of 3.5%. So what that means is that when they get their certified values and they're going to set that tax rate, they cannot charge you a total dollar amount more than 3.5% without your permission. So if they want to go over a 3.5% increase on the total dollar amount of taxes that you pay, they have to actually hold an election for that. See, the old law before we acted last session was they could go up like 8%, and they could actually go up over that unless you filed a petition with the taxing entity. And that petition's hard to do, it's hard to gather, then you would be able to hold an election. They automatically have to hold a tax ratification election if they want to go above 3.5%. But your cities and counties aren't where you pay the lion's share of your property taxes. That is taken care of in HB3, and that is with the school districts and that your ISDs, and that is a hard cap of 2.5%. So 2.5% increase, again, on the total dollar amount of taxes that you pay. And that's a hard cap. They cannot go over that dollar amount at all for any reason. The state makes up the difference. These tax caps both go into effect in 2020. Okay, so this is brand new, this taxing year. Those go into effect this year. What happened last year in 2019 was the result of the $5 billion worth of property tax relief that we did, where we bought down your property tax rates for your school district. So I know for many school districts in House District 106, those tax rate decreases as a result of the $5 billion we invested at the state level, those property tax decreases were 11 cents for many school districts, like Little Elm and Frisco and so many others. I know Louisville ISD was like 4 or 5 cents. It did vary a little bit depending on what the current rate was and values, how that compression worked, but we did buy those tax rates down last year, and this year is when the property tax caps go into effect. So again, it's not on the value, it's on the total dollar, total dollar amount that really works for folks. So again, protest your value with the appraisal district, challenge the taxing entities if they're not lowering that tax rate enough to make up for the difference. Those are two things that are going to be your responsibility as we head into the rest of this year as time goes by. I would love to hear some feedback from you. My Twitter handle is @JaredL.Patterson. Same thing on Instagram. If you're seeing this video, you probably already follow me on Facebook, but that's facebook.com/JPattersonTX. You can also get more information at my website. We just revamped our website, jaredpatterson.net. There's a lot of good information there about issues. I get into property taxes a little bit there. You can also see a number of press releases on things that I've been working on. And on the state side, please feel free to reach out to my office at any time. My district office number is 214-494-6498. Melanie, my district director, Brian, my chief of staff, folks are there to work. We've been doing a lot of things with the Texas Workforce Commission on unemployment benefits right now, but I fully suspect that folks are going to be reaching out soon about property taxes as well. So as always, thank you for your time. God bless you, and God bless the great state of Texas.